Hi, I'm Jesse Griffiths. I'm the chef and co-owner of Daidue, a restaurant in Austin, Texas, and also the author of the Hog Book. And today we're going to be grinding meat. We're going to grind three kinds. One, just a plain and lean grind, one with a little bit of fat added, and one with bacon and a little fat added for burgers. So on the first day of processing, when I'm breaking down ribs, chops, roasts, and other cuts like that, I'm usually going to set everything aside to be ground later on. There's a couple reasons for that. Usually it's just too much work to be done in one day. And secondly, I like to have everything frozen and organized so that later on I can pull it out of the freezer, partially thaw it, and then get to grinding. All right, we're ready to grind now. So I'm gonna assemble the grinder. I've had all the grinder parts in the freezer to keep them very, very cold. That's for sanitation and also to help with that nice bind and to have a better quality ground meat or sausage. So I'm gonna assemble the grinder, put the grinding mechanism on right here, followed by the auger and the blade. And then I'm gonna go with the medium die. I use a medium die probably 95% of the time, and often, especially with game, I will just pass the meat through the medium die 2 times. And I find that to work really well. It's a very simple approach to it, and it seems to work every time. All right, we're ready to grind now. We've got our grinder assembled, and I've got 4 pounds of meat here and 1 pound of pure fat, so a 20% ratio. And I'm just going to pass it through the grinder twice. It's got a really big hopper, which is great, so I can just put it all up here. And then I have a chilled tray to land it on, and then I'm simply going to turn on the grinder and alternate meat and fat. So after I've ground it the first time, I'm going to kind of do a temperature check on it. If it's very, very cold, I'll go ahead and pass it through again. If it's not, I'm going to throw it in the freezer for a few minutes, and that's what I'm going to do. Next up, we're going to do burger. And so for a burger, I really like to do a combination of beef fat and bacon. Now for other grinds, I'll use pork back fat or fat back. But for burger, I really do prefer a 10% bacon and 10% beef fat ratio in there, and that makes a really, really delicious burger. Now we're going to do just a plain grind. So this is some very lean oryx, actually, 100%, and we're not going to add any fat at all to that, and so it's going to have a very pure flavor, but it will be kind of lean, maybe tend to be on the dry side, but some people want just that very, very pure, unadulterated ground. All right, we're going to grind that meat and fat one more time through the medium die. It's been in the freezer for a little while, so it's gotten a little bit refrozen. And put it in the hopper and just pass it through one more time into a bowl. Now that we've done our burger and our lean grinds, I'm gonna actually make a little batch of sausage out of this double ground meat with 20% fat added in. You can add the sausage seasonings in at any point. Sometimes I'll marinate the meat beforehand and grind the marinated meat. We've already passed this through twice. I'm gonna add the seasonings at this point. So you can either do that by hand or in an electric mixer with a paddle, which is really a great way to do it because it keeps your hot hands off of it. But I'm just gonna do a very quick mix on this. I'm going to add in about a cup of ice cold liquid. In this case, it is ice water with a little bit of vinegar in there. And I'm going to add that in there, and then I'm going to quickly mix this by hand until it gets really nice and tacky. All right, I'm going to pass this burger grind through one more time just to get it broken down a little bit finer, but this is the grind that we have with the bacon and the fat. So what I'm doing here is I'm just dropping the meat in a little bit at a time, just kind of letting the grinder go at its own pace. All right, we've got all of our ground meats done. We have our burger with bacon and beef fat. We made a 5-pound batch of sausage. In this case, it's some chorizo. So it had 4 pounds of wild boar and whitetail deer in there, along with 1 pound of pork back fat for a 20% ratio. And then we've got some plain lean ground here. So all 3 kinds of grind. In another video on the MeatEater, we are going to show you how to link and case, or case and link all of this chorizo. And now I'm gonna get to packaging it. So you can find all of this information in my book, The Hog Book, and we'll see you next time.